things we're gonna know about case study. First of all, I'm gonna spend like 30 minutes to tell you the general understanding what is case study. And in this area, we're gonna know when you should use case study and how to use it, and how you can get the resource, and what is case study resource, and like what's special about the case study here. And secondly, we have steps involved in a case study. So case study is kind of, if we on the second part of step of involved in a case study, you would see that case study is quite similar to other method and methodology. And in here, I will give you a checklist. So that checklist, 他刚给我竖了个中指，我好想竖回来，但他走得太快了。Timmy. So in here, I will give you a checklist. In this checklist, I want to have a look if you have all the information you have on hand. You can use that on any of your other methods too. And 3, the types of case study. If you already knew a little bit about case study, you should know that case study is involved in qualitative research and quantitative research. So there are different types of case study here. So what I want to say is different type of case study, but the way you're doing case study is the same. Why he put different type of case study here is because you can explain better what type case study you use here to explain what type of data. It's for you to explain better, but it doesn't mean different type study have different way to do research. It's not like that. It's quite similar. So first of all, why you might choose case study. So the first rules why you might choose that case study is case study gonna give you a deep understanding of something. So when you don't have enough experience about something, you might need to use case study to fill in that areas. For example, like if you do a painting, a specific technology of a painting, you don't have a knowledge or you don't have experience in that areas. But at that time, you can get more information from a one case. And that one case can be individual, can be a group of people. And it's like when a singer don't have relationship experience and he would like is that when a singer don't have relationship experience, he can't write a new songs. Then he can know more story about another singer or another person. Then he can write his love stories. So think about it. Is that fit your situation? Like you don't have much experience about something, but you want to have more information about it. And also interviews, questionnaires in this way is not good enough to collect more data. And that's how you can consider, am I supposed to use a case study? And the second thing is more details. You know, case study resource is quite wide. It can involve anything anyone say about it, first-hand and second-hand information. When you need more details and you think autoethnography or phenomenologies or ground theory or any of other ways, you can't collect more data, then you can use case study. Because case study is whatever you do, different perspective to learn from one case. And also about case study, what I want to say is, so you might need to go home to learn more by yourself to see what kind of information you need. It's like every single class we have here. What I teach you is only like 10%, 20% information. So what you need to do is go home to learn more by yourself. And second thing, about group. So in case study, you can study one single individual or specific group. So when you study one single individual, you have to make sure that one single individual is good enough for your research. or it can be a company, a university, or a group of artists, but you have to make sure that artists belong to your same group. If you study like different artists but they're in different areas, that's not cool specific group. And then you can study a group of similar case study, like what I say, you can study a family, that sounds like a group. Or you can study different family, but you're looking for same informations. You also might use just one complex case study where you can explore one single subject in a deep or conduct multiple case study to compare with different aspects of your research problems. It's a sense. So it says even if you do choose a case, you need to choose a complex case studies. So what is a complex case studies? Is when you identify what is complex study, it depends on how many angles you need from your informations. Imagine if you have like 10 different perspective from your informations, then is that one single case study is good enough for it? If not, you might need to consider a multiple case studies. And case study here, the information. So what kind of information you might need here is it will allow you to explore the key characters, the meanings, and implications of the case. So for what I understanding, I think case study is quite similar to part of phenomenologies. So you can't just see something in the surface. You need to understand deep down what meaning of that. And that could include in the history, development, circumstances of each under the studies. Is anyone understand what is circumstances? Yeah, it is in these areas. So what kind of circumstances, what is specials is you looking for here? So what are the potential source of information? I think this is a big difference than other method or methodologies. So first of all, you need to try your best to gather all the relevant documents. Then you can set up interview, a survey, a specific group, observation to a specific group or anything. And also seek for the response. So here, I think the difference is some people said it's a methodology, some people said it's a method, because I think method is what I understand is a case that involve a lot of method in it. So like we said, we can use interview, surveys, questionnaires to phenomenology, to ground theories or whatever. However, in the case studies, you might need more than that. So what you might need is let's say a sample. So what are the motivation of online user to design avatar? This is my subject. So if I'm going to treat my work as a case study, I would like to say I choose one social platform in VR chat for case study. That is VR chat. And if you look carefully, each PhD work can treat as a case study. That's just from one perspective. Like secondly is my colleague, her project. How does user experience of virtual museum differ by gender, race and age? And she used one single cases is Mona Lisa Museum in VR as a case study. So what she doing is ask participants in this VR museum, then interview them, give them questionnaires. At the same time, she also interview or ask questions for the development. So for the developer, so who invents this museum, and he also find some news paper article about what they discuss about this museum. So think about it. If you use case studies, what kind of source that you might consider about, and why want to choose that resources? What kind of information you're looking for? So the potential of source of information. So first of all, you will have the, let's call first-hand source, that's interview, questionnaires, observation, and more. Secondly, in case studies, you might involve like second-hand resource, like project document. When I say project document, normally in the UK, you can easily to find on their website. So company website and company website, and also the company might be sometimes not just one company. They also have also small companies under this company. So you also can find other information about that too. Newspaper article. I remember in the library class, the lady would show you how to get more resource about the newspapers, how to get access to different newspapers. That's also quite useful too, because you can see a medium perspective, how medium describe this resource, and that can be a delightful point of your papers. And then photographs. Photographs is probably something that all the art students like to use, because image, visual stuff is powerful. But also what I want to mention here is when you use photograph, don't just use photograph. Use the language which they describe this photograph. Otherwise, in the end of study, you might find that it's very difficult to analyze it. So project, document, newspaper, and article, photograph. And I want you to open your mind, think about that more about it. Do you know that's called 什么全球什么指数，听过吗？全球 对，就是那个，它就是 it's like different source in the whole like academic areas. And if you go to, is anyone on the ukgovernment.com website before? And that surprised me. In China, we don't normally put all the information in one website, or we just put words in one website to describe it. But actually in the UK, the government.com, you can find that they post all the data about how, imagine you study art and designs. They will post data about how many art design students graduate from different areas, what kind of job they have, how many artists, what kind of job they are doing. I mean, this kind of data is quite useful, might useful to your study. So don't miss out any resource, especially remember government.com. So it also have environments about the fashion brand in the UK, what's going on in the UK. You might need to have a look. So I don't remember that much, but I remember what I do in MA and PhD studies quite helped me to have an idea like what's happening in these areas, and the information update in 3 years or 5 years. Sometimes it's every single year. So don't limit it the way you get your resource. You get your source. Okay, now practice time 20 minutes. Think about where you might be able to get your data from. And here, the most important things I want to see is what kind of data you're looking for, and how you're gonna use case study, and which kind, like different way you're gonna get the data from what you want. So at least in a PhD study, if you use case study, at least you need to use 3 perspectives. If you just use interview or questionnaires, that's not really called case studies. Case study means you have lot of different perspectives, dig in one information. So from all of you who gonna choose case study, or person who not gonna choose study, still do that practice. It's gonna help you. Like search right now, go to government.com, go to different websites, think about what kind of resource you want. Understand something deep. If you remember what we learned before, the phenomenology is also similar like this. So you not just see something on surface, and especially when the boundary between phenomena and the context are not clear evidence. So when you use the case study, it's because some phenomenon is not that really clear yet. People not be able to understand what is this. Then use the case study to understand it. So in other words, if you're doing phenomenologies, you also can use case study to own these methodologies. So numbers and words. So if we go to like MBA department or financial department, you would see they all kind of use the case study. So case study kind of involve the numbers and words. What I want you aware is when you use case studies, well, you can use the numbers, but I strongly suggest you use words more than numbers. So in my PhD in this stage, I have to deal with numbers and words. And from my perspective, deal with numbers is not really my thing. It's just hard. You have to like start all over again to learn a different app, different application, like different way to analyze the things. So you can use the numbers. If you use numbers, you can go to government.com or any other website that already present the data online. So you can use that. That's convenience. But if you use case studies in quantitative research, I suggest you to use the words, use the language to studies. So that's something I want you aware. So when you use case study, don't go too far. Don't make it to a quantitative research. You have to make it to quantitative research. So when this course is about 这门课是不要关于定性研究的，你不可能说在人文社科中你去做成了定量研究，那是不可能的。所以当你在做研究的时候，少用 number， 多用 words。如果你用 numbers， 我要用人家已经呈现完的数据，因为这也是 case study 中很重要的一个点。我大概花了1个星期的时间去理解，说出来你们要笑话我，去理解什么叫做频率，什么叫频数，什么叫做中位数，这些东西，还有很多。
没事，我也不懂。
后来我男朋友就跟我讲，实在没有办法，他给我画一个太阳，画几个星星。他说星星到太阳的距离就是它的，我已经忘记是什么了。但就用这种比喻的方式，作为人文社科的学生，我才能够理解。Okay, cognitive. So here is so case study specific use in qualitative research. So it help you exploration of a phenomenon with some particular context through the data resource. So that's why in the 20 minutes or 30 minutes break time, what I want to do is kind of you have a phenomenon you know at the moment. Because if you have a research questions, then you will have a phenomenon right now. So in these phenomena, how the case study going to help you explore this phenomenon? What kind of information you need here, and how you're going to use case study to explore it? That's kind of the thing that you might need to know. The case study methodology here. Did you see? Some people treat case study as a methodology. Because when they treat case study as a methodology, they take case study under a quantitative research perspective. Then they think it's a methodology. But in most of way, in academic areas, we treat case study as a method. So here, if you want to make your research in a clearly way, I suggest you can use phenomenologies as your methodology, but case study as a method. It's just logically make more sense. Because if you're going to use case study as a methodology, you might need to explain more why and what kind of perspective in here can help you to understand your whole project. Okay, it's 20. Oh, that's so quick. Do you want 20 minutes break or you want to continue?
Continue.
Break. Okay, you can take time. Yeah, of course. Someone said continue. You can continue. I'll keep eyes on you.
我之前总结了一些，你先来。你先。
你说。
之前不是如果想 们想研究就是外遗产的这个就是让你
地上元神，开启我的梅花油。
用中国文字的对对对，
是啊，
他的作品就是用为什么他的拆解它新的文字，然后呢，他我的理解，他这文字部分通常它是属于那之前
所有的文字
对，然后
组合成了一个新的
对
那个
语言
我当时还在看那上面是什么，
对
看发现好几个人来了一个开发了一个新的语言系统，
他自己对开发了一个新的语言系统，然后想到很多东西，然后
这就是一种挑战。
对。然后呢，我想研究的是，我可能就是目前这个印象下，我觉得那遗产在当代的艺术上，它所结合起来的一种创新的方法和它的艺术，
文化遗产在创新的艺
当代艺术，
当代艺术创新的意义可以很广泛。